We are joined, as we are most Mondays at this time, by Ann Coulter, the author of the New York Times bestseller, most recently, In Trump We Trust. Ann, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Anytime. Good to talk to you, Howie. What a great day this is.
It is. Ann, isn't it amazing that all these books, you wrote that book last year about Trump, and all these new books are being commissioned, but they keep going down one after another as the author that's pocketed the large advance is outed as a serial predator and perv. First it was Mark Halperin. His book with John Heilemann went down the tubes because he was fired from MSNBC. Today it's Glenn Thrush, a Clinton rump swab, a self-admitted hack who had his stories cleared by John Podesta during the campaign. He had a big deal with Maggie Haberman, and now that deal, I guess, is going down the tubes because he's been suspended and he's in a padded facility undergoing rehab. So I suggested that Heilemann and Haberman should get together now, and since they both need partners, and they could do a book together, Our Pervy Pals.
Yes. I really am enjoying this, and I think it all comes from the Clinton era, following close on the heels of the Anita Hill era. What was taken away from that is that if you're a liberal man, you can do anything. You can be a total sexual pervert. You can hit on women. But don't worry if you're a liberal. Rape's okay. No, Gloria Steinem will be right there to defend you as long as you're for a woman's right to choose and call yourself a progressive and concern yourself with the women in the workforce. I mean, it is a disproportionate number. I'm sure not all, but well, maybe it is all, of left-wing people in left-wing professions who are turning out to be absolute total creeps.
Yeah, and we were just talking about the guy in Florida, the chairman of the state party. I mean, they're saying, all the stories are saying he's gone because he was just a total creep, and he creeped people out. And that's the word that's being used to describe Al Franken by this latest woman whose butt he grabbed at the Minnesota State Fair, that he was a creeper.
What is so great about that, I just tweeted, and for those of you who aren't on Twitter, you must get on Twitter. It is so much fun. You don't have to tweet. You just find the right people to follow, and it's like a constantly scrolling drudge. But I was tweeting that video that I had earlier tweeted of the CNN anchors interviewing a reporter who had talked to the woman whose butt Al Franken grabbed when her husband was taking a photo. She posted about it immediately on Facebook, told all her friends. Nobody really noticed until now. And the funniest thing about the video is the long faces on the CNN anchors. They're so sad, and they're not sad for the woman. They're not sad that it happened. They're sad that Al's not going to be able to wriggle out of this one.
Well, you debated Al Franken once, didn't you, Ann?
Yes, he's a monster.
Well, tell us about it.
I'm trying to think how to make it short.
That's okay.
I watched it this morning, Ann, and I'll just say he's crappy, and he's not funny at all.
And that's okay.
No,
we got plenty of time.
What happened backstage was more appalling. But it's kind of a long story, other than the fact that he and the rabbis, Ben Stein, incidentally, told me not to do a debate there. He said, these people are monsters, don't go there. And the rabbis certainly were. They're there in their full garb, just lying to my face. He's lying to my face.
Where was this?
Berating me, yelling at me.
Where was this, Ann?
It was out at some. It was like, I don't know, Yeshiva University or something out in L.A. But coincidentally, I had someone there with me. I have traveled with people. I had a bunch of friends in the audience there. But he was such a monster and so obviously lying to any neutral observer. I mean, I guess I could give you the details. I think it could get too boring, but I'm happy to. One funny thing was the shock on his face when he realized this extra guy in the room was not part of the university, that he was there with me, so there was a separate and independent eyewitness to everything that was happening. And it was also fun just seeing him berate his staff member.
Oh, really? Was it a male or female?
He's just a nasty person.
Male or female?
Very nasty person. And the surprising thing to me was the rabbis openly going along with his lies and berating.
Was his aide a male or a female?
I don't remember. It sticks out in my mind because I just think that's always a good sign of a decent person. Whatever you think of their politics or non-politics, you can yell at people who are on your level. You can yell at people who are above you. You can yell at your bosses. You cannot yell at people below you. It's just, I think most people understand that intuitively. No one ever had to tell me that.
Right.
But in many workplaces across America, and I would say especially liberal workplaces, it's exactly the opposite. Oh, no, they suck up and berate down.
Yeah, this is, I guess we shouldn't be taking such a glee in what's happening, Ann, but how can you not? I mean, these people are all such reprehensible figures. And how about this guy, Glenn Thrush, this reporter for the New York Times? I mean, someone who never should have...
also interviewed me.
Oh, okay, well, boy, Ann, this is... a lot of first-person accounts here. Tell us about Glenn Thrush.
Well, what was striking about Glenn Thrush... we didn't get drunk and make out, if that's what you're hoping for.
You weren't in that. You weren't in the intern booth. You're a little old for the intern booth in Roslyn, Virginia, that he likes.
He wasn't in Roslyn, Virginia. He came up to New York to interview me. The most striking thing to me, and I'll give him credit for one teeny tiny little thing. He at least posted the full interview. But how many people are going to read to check to see, if I actually said what he said? I said, and I didn't. He wrote this article where he had many things that I think were harmful to me, harmful to Trump, claiming that I said them. And I'm reading through his account of it. And thinking to myself, wait a second, I didn't say that. And then at the end of the article, you get the interview itself, so I could send it to people whom I was allegedly insulting, but I had not insulted, and say, look at the interview. I didn't say that. So the interview itself, at least he printed it, but I was a little testy, a month or so later when it turns out he's sending his articles to the Clinton campaign to have them check them before it comes out. I did get him to make a few corrections afterwards because what I recall, I don't remember the details, but I recall that he had me insulting someone whom I would not have insulted.
Well, so so you're telling me that he didn't extend to you the same courtesy of letting you review the article before it was posted that he extended to John Podesta, the chairman of the Clinton campaign?
No, and, in the abstract, maybe that's not such a big deal. But in this particular case, it actually made a big difference because he misportrayed what I said, which he later admitted. And at least in one case, I got him to change what he said I said. And I think 99% of the people who read his article did not bother plowing through the entire interview, though, of course, the entire interview was way more fascinating since it's what I actually said.
Well, and I got to ask you about this horrible case down in Texas on the border today. You know what I'm talking about. Border Patrol agent killed, another in serious condition in Texas. And apparently this guy, this Border Patrol agent, Rogelio Martinez, was ambushed by a group of illegal aliens whom he was tracking. Agents' reports from the ground, this is from the Union, say he was struck in the head multiple times with a rock or rocks. So in other words, they stoned an American Border Patrol agent to death.
If only we had elected a president who would build a wall.
There needs to be a wall, but...
We're getting to the 1-year mark now. He should have been working on it on November 9th. Instead of an inauguration, he should have invited us all down to the border for the breaking of the ground on the wall on January 21st, and this never would have happened. No, if he doesn't realize yet, every Kate Steinle, every San Bernardino going forward is going to start to be blamed on him because he ran and he won on immigration, and he's not doing it.
But can you really blame this on him, though, Ann? I mean,
well, yes, I can. We ought to have a wall by now.
But you know there would have been all sorts of lawsuits filed. You know, the snail darter was going to be adversely impacted. These liberal groups are trying to buy land down on the border.
Me crazy about Republicans. Well, we can't, because if we do that, something bad, somebody would have objected. For one thing, fine. Then you can say I couldn't do it because a judge said I couldn't. But for another thing, no, he wins. He's the commander-in-chief. He can condemn property. You can buy off the Indians. He could build around any place where there's a lawsuit. He's the commander-in-chief. He can build a wall. He wins all those cases, and he can fight for those cases instead of flitting around Japan and China. It wasn't to make Syria great again. It wasn't to make China great again or make Japan great again. He was supposed to be making America great again. And do you know our president has spent more days abroad than any other president in his first year except Obama, and the year isn't up yet. One more short foreign trip, and he will have spent more days abroad than any other president in his first year. It was to make America great again. No, foreign policy is something that sounds like it's important, but it's never important. It's never important, Howie. We can't change other countries. We take our allies where we can take them. Read George Washington's farewell address. We wish luck to the rest of the world, but this is our country. This is what we care about.
One last thing, Ann. Marshawn Lynch, running back for the Oakland Raiders. You know where I'm going with this, right? He's down in Mexico City. The Raiders are playing the Patriots last night. He sits for the U.S. national anthem and then stands up for the Mexican national anthem.
Yes, because they treat Africans so well. African immigrants. I was about to say African Americans. Who did that once? Clinton, I think, called Mandela a great African American. Anyway, yeah. I'm very disappointed because I always liked Marshawn, but I loved Trump's tweet on it. And actually, you give me an idea off the top of my head. Maybe we could just put Trump in charge of tweeting and let Stephen Miller run the country.
Or at least build a wall. Stephen Miller would not be pussyfooting around on the wall. There's no doubt about that.
No, he would not. And yes, I love the Trump tweets, but that's not enough to make up for border agents being killed, and all the Muslims who are coming in now. Any of them commit a terrorist act, there's only one person who's going to be blamed and should be blamed. Any illegals still crossing, any illegals not being deported, Howie.
How about the judges?
The next case finally is Donald Trump's fault.
How about the judges on the circuit courts that have stopped the travel bans? And do they blame any responsibility? Do they bear any responsibility?
Yeah, but he's the president. They're pathetic little district court judges. No, you can't keep collapsing like a basketball player and pretending, oh, now I can't do anything. You're the president of the United States. You're the commander-in-chief. He spends more time haranguing, I don't know, the New York Times or Morning Joe than he does these judges. But the Supreme Court keeps upholding him.
I know, but then they okay.
So go ahead and do it.
Ann, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I'm Howie.